Hi, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar in the How to Connect series. My name is Misty Wilson-Mehrtens. I'm the Chair for Social Sciences at TCC Connect, and today I am here with
Rik Sehgal. I teach government at Trinity River. Hello, TR students. And I teach at Connect as well. I have a Connect class. Hello, Connect students. I haven't met you guys yet, but it's good to have you see me, I guess. We'll word it that way.
So tonight we're talking about finding your political identity and learning more about how you come to understand politics and how you identify with each political party. So just as a reminder for you guys, we do have a whole series in the How to Connect series that's coming up. These are all leading up to the 2018 midterms, and we hope you guys are going to be participating in them and that you've already registered to vote. So go ahead if you have your second tab open. This is going to be the interactive thing that we're going to do later. You can copy that link down, or probably the easier way to do this is go to just Google and type in political typology quiz. We're going to take this quiz later on in the webinar, and you're going to need your results to get credit for attending at the very end. All right, so Professor Sehgal.
Yes, Sehgal, actually.
Sehgal, sorry.
I've known
Sehgal.
Misty Wilson for 10 years,
and
she
still
insists,
can't get it right.
She insists my name is pronounced differently.
Can
Thank
I just
you.
call you Rik?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine. That's
Rik.
fine. Yes.
Can you tell us about some of the terms that we hear all the time in the news and all the time in politics, but that we maybe don't completely, totally understand?
Yeah, so I think in order to understand political identity, we need to talk about the major players here. And I can kind of see you guys typing, so if for some reason the audio is not good, let us know. Missy's going to be checking the chats as well to see if we're doing something wrong. But assuming you can hear me, we'll start with libertarian. And libertarians are the minority in this country, those who identify as libertarian. Libertarians tend to be anti-government. I'll kind of start it with that. A libertarian is someone who believes in basically leave me alone, okay? They believe the government should not regulate the choices they make in life. But there are some extremes either way with libertarians. Some libertarians would like to see, all drugs legalized, okay? Some libertarians would say, well, only marijuana, while others would say, let's legalize everything, prostitution, drugs. There should be no government regulating things that I do on my own.
So if you were paying attention to the last major election cycle, the libertarian candidate was?
Gary Johnson.
Okay.
I did not expect that question. I guess I'm going to be quizzed here as we go. Yeah, Gary Johnson, who got, what, 2% of the vote?
Yeah, not very much.
Not very much. So libertarians, it is a growing party. I think one of their issues is not enough people know who they are, what they believe in, but you should definitely be aware of them as they are, one of the major quote-unquote minor parties.
All right, so the next term we're going to talk about is
left click there.
It's not working.
There you go.
Conservative.
Conservative. So this is one of the two major parties. Conservatives typically identify as Republicans. The president of the United States, Donald Trump, is a Republican, a conservative Republican. But there are degrees. There are some conservatives who are more fiscally conservative. They believe the government should watch what it spends. There are some conservatives who are more socially conservative. Typically, religion plays a big role in these people's lives. They typically disagree with abortion, with same-sex marriage, with a lot of these social issues. Okay, but again, there's a scale. Some conservatives are Democrats. Very few conservative people identify with the Democrat Party. But again, most conservatives are Republicans.
Well, and we should say that all of these things are on a sliding scale, right?
Yes.
So a conservative in Texas doesn't necessarily look like a conservative in New York.
No, that's definitely true. Definitely true. And but they do share some things. I think maybe a great way to explain the conservatives is they believe in a limited government.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next term is liberal.
Liberal. The other major political identity is liberalism. Liberals tend to identify as Democrats. I actually have never met a liberal Republican. Have you?
I don't think I have.
Okay, yeah. So they tend to be either Democrats or sometimes they may be a Green Party. There are some other fringe parties that you could label as liberal. A liberal person tends to believe in government action to promote equality. They tend to believe that the government should be more proactive in ensuring that people have access to health care, to a good living wage. They tend to support more soft immigration laws for people who are here without documents. They just believe in a more active government. And again, most Democrats are liberal.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then independence.
Independence.
And this one's near and dear to my heart.
Yes, and I think I have to question people who claim to be independent. Most of my students will say that they're independent. That when I ask them, well, what do you believe in? They eventually admit that they are either conservative, liberal, or something else. But we do have some independent people who really do not identify with any ideology, typology. I think these people tend to not be as active in politics. I think once you are aware of more things, politically speaking, you tend to be, you take a side at some point. But independent people, they are out there. I just think that a lot of them don't know what they believe yet.
Well, and I think if you're an independent, you're very important in the swing votes.
Oh, yeah.
Because independents are the ones who can be swayed.
Yes.
They can go either way in some cases.
I think they're the temperature of the country. Yes. Because you'll ask, Democrats will support Democrats, conservatives will support Republicans, but independents will sometimes leave the party that is in power.
All right, so the next one's kind of a big one, and it's socialism.
Yeah, and socialism. So I'm not sure if they're really a party or an ideology. Socialism, I think, is also misunderstood quite a bit. Someone who believes in socialism believes in government control of a lot of important parts of the country. Again, but this is a sliding scale.
Right.
We have a lot of socialism in this country. Our education system is socialized. Our water system is socialized. Our military is socialized. Parts of our healthcare is socialized. So it's not a bad word, but you have to be careful because people who want to see more socialism, you have to find ways to pay for it. You're going to have to tell rich people that you're going to have to pay more taxes.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. So I think it's misunderstood. But I think people need to admit we already have a lot of socialism in this country, and for the most part, I think it works. But there are certainly some issues that we could fix.
And then the last one you have is capitalism.
Capitalism, a much more, I think, positive word association with capitalism. No,
maybe.
Your face tells me I'm wrong. I think that when people says we are a capitalism country, that we are a free market. If you want to make a business in this country, you can. I think that's mostly true. But there are some downsides, like there are with socialism. Capitalism favors people who make it. People who can't make it or don't want to make it in this country, they tend to not do as well. So while it does favor people who are successful and lucky to some extent, there are people that are left behind, and we have to figure out, how do we address these issues.
So would it be fair to say that we don't have either a fully socialist or a fully capitalist system, that we have a blended mix of the two?
I would say that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now I need you guys to open a second tab. Don't close this one. Just open a new one. And you can either type in that link. You're probably not going to be able to click it, but you can type it in, or you can just go to Google and Google political typology quiz.
It's not an ad, people.
Yes,
I had Misty open it earlier, and she thought it was. She Googled that and did not click the first link because she's like, it's always an ad, and this one was not.
Yeah, I was wrong.
It is the first result
Yes.
if you type in political typology quiz. Trust me.
So it's going to ask you 16 questions. We want you to answer it as honestly as you can, and it's going to give you its opinion of what your political typology is. And we're going to talk about all of those here in a minute. But for now, go ahead and just start taking the quiz. As you guys do that, because it's going to take you a minute, we are going to walk you through two fictional people here and talk about how they might fall on this quiz. All right, so the first person we're going to talk about is Alex.
Alex believes in the government that promotes social equality. She thinks taxes should be spent on programs such as healthcare for all and unemployment insurance. Taxes which pay for the programs Alex supports should come from those who can most afford to pay the highest taxes. Americans earning $1 million or more a year in income. Where does Alex fit on the political ideological spectrum?
So government teacher, where does she fit? I'm a history teacher.
Yes, and of course, they're never related at all. Alex is a pretty clear liberal here, a liberal that, on the sliding scale is, again, this is limited information here, but she appears to be, on the more liberal side, on the liberalism. She says right away she wants social equality. That to me is someone that means we should spend more money on issues that liberals care about.
Okay.
And that the fact that that's her first statement, that to me says
it's a signaling.
Yeah,
She's signaling to
oh
you.
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Healthcare for all, clearly that is a liberal issue. But again, you got to find a way to pay for it. And then she says that these taxes should be paid by people who make more money. So yeah, that is a very, very liberal person. You know, as far as do most Americans agree with that? No, but most liberals would probably agree with that.
All right, so our second fictional person is Sam.
Sam. Okay, look at that. He's making a funny motion there. Sam knows what he's doing. Sam believes in a limited government that rewards personal responsibility and adapts slowly to change. He thinks that a strong military is necessary to protect our interests around the globe. He believes that businesses should be free from government regulations that make it harder to succeed. So Sam is pretty clearly here a conservative, pretty much like right in the middle. He is not libertarian because he wants a strong military. Mm-hmm. Libertarians tend to want very reduced military action, even unless we're attacked or something like that. So yeah, a conservative person would agree with a strong military. He agree with less government regulations on businesses, kind of a capitalism type of belief. Definitely no socialism here. So yeah, Sam is a pretty solid conservative.
And we kind of made this easy, right? Because we picked pretty
easy. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I made it easy myself.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes. Now, yeah, most people do not have these strong statements. Most people are, it's like, well, I believe in military action, but only, if we're attacked or if something like that. So.
Well, and you can blend the two, right? You might be socially very liberal and fiscally very conservative. That happens.
Yes.
So most of us are probably not going to fall exactly in line with one of the parties.
No.
All right, so we're hoping that you guys have gotten at least most of the way through the test.
And I have at least one student here. I'm going to send the link here in the Hangouts chat or in the YouTube chat if you guys are having trouble.
Oh, let
me do it. But yeah, if you can just Google political typology quiz and you should be able to see it. So
we want to talk to you guys about what these answers mean. Now, these answers are not set in stone. You shouldn't, be too concerned if you didn't get exactly what you thought you were going to get.
The biggest complaint I get is you only have two options. You've made that same complaint.
Yes, I said I need a third option.
Yeah, and the third option would always be the maybe, and no, it's better to have two because you have to make
a choice.
It makes you make a hard choice, but typically those are the two choices. You don't get a third maybe choice in the real world. So it's tough, but I think it does create a more accurate typology result.
So just kind of in a random order here, what are bystanders?
Bystanders are my favorite. These people, and I think they mostly reflect my students. A bystander doesn't care. I hate because some of you probably have bystanders as a result. Bystanders do not get involved politically. They don't really know the issues. They don't really seem to care about the issues. It is very small, as you can see, 8% of the population identifies as this. So these people, again, they tend to not know the issues or care about the issues.
Do you think it's a not caring, or do you think it's just like maybe they have young kids at home or they're working two jobs and maybe they just don't have time?
I think they tend to be younger, actually.
Okay.
I think they tend to be younger and they just don't know yet. And I don't mean it as a bad thing. They don't care because they don't have to care yet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, core conservatives.
Core conservative, this is your Republican Party base. Okay, if you're a core conservative, you are, probably a very reliable Republican voter. Republican voter. You tend to, whatever the bullet points are for the Republican Party, you tend to meet those. The Republican Party relies on the core conservatives to vote. These are the limited government, the pro-military, deregulation, low taxes. These are the core conservatives, and and you can see in the chart, it makes up the people that vote 15 to 20% of the population. So it's a pretty big chunk.
So what's the difference between the core conservatives and the country first conservatives?
The country first conservatives, you can call them maybe part of the Tea Party.
Okay.
A country first conservative is a more extreme, a more conservative, if that makes sense, conservative person. They tend to be anti-immigration, even legal immigration. They tend to just want less immigration overall. They want American trade deals to be renegotiated. They're kind of like the president. I mean, in some ways, he's a very much a country first. I mean, make America great again, right? They are very much probably in the line of his thinking of we need better trade deals. We need America to really kind of show its muscle around the world. And again, they make up, based on this the Pew study, very small percentage, but I think our president probably identifies.
Do you think that they're more vocal? Maybe they're a small percentage, but they're vocal. Okay.
Yeah, they really care about the issues, and they're very educated on the issues.
How about market skeptic Republicans?
Market skeptic, hard to say that word. Republicans are mostly pro-business. Okay, they're probably business owners. They don't care about immigration as much. They don't care about military. They tend to focus more on taxes and business regulation. And again, it's a fairly small percentage of the conservative base, but
so they're kind of just focusing their efforts on that one thing.
Yes.
That they care about.
Yeah, and same with country first. It's just different. They're all conservative.
What they care about is different.
They're all conservative in general, but their specific issues are a little bit different. But they're going to vote Republican. Each of those, the core, the country first, and the market skeptic are all very reliable Republican voters.
So what about your new era enterprisers?
That one I need to kind of look at a little bit. That to me is not a common description of Republicans. I'll tell you what the Pew research says. These people are fundamentally optimistic about the state of the nation and its future. They're more likely than any other typology group to say the next generation of Americans will have it better than people today. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't.
You're supposed to be our expert.
Well, yes, but experts also admit when they don't know what they're talking about. I would say that a new era is a optimistic Republican who believes that these beliefs do actually, and people say they're anti-change, the conservatives. I don't really necessarily 100% agree with that. They would probably believe that Republicans are pro the right kind of change, and they see that this new Republican Party that's forming in their minds is the best for this country in the future. So again, it's 9% of people that identified. I'm not quite sure exactly what they believe about immigration. I don't know about that.
How about the devout and the diverse?
The devout and the diverse. These are people, let's see here, 6%. Yeah, because these are more liberal. Okay, they're on so if it's a sliding scale, the devout and diverse are almost in the middle, okay, between the conservatives and liberals. But they do identify more as liberal, but they're religious, and they're usually people of color, which is a interesting mix for the Democrats. Democrats are banking on people of color to support their party for the coming years. The only thing that makes this one unique is the religious part of it. A lot of times religion will dictate your political identity. So in that case, these are people that are religious, also liberal.
Okay. The disaffected Democrats.
Disaffected Democrats. Again, I'm reading, the Pew research says they have very positive feelings toward the Democrat Party and its leading figures. These are cynical people. Okay, these are people that otherwise. That's against what Pew says. That's right. These are people who think politics are corrupt.
All right.
And that that the government is crooked. I think I have a lot of students who probably feel this way. But at the end of the day, their issues are still more liberal.
Okay.
And they're going to support, if they do vote, which you can see they don't vote quite as much. But if they do vote, they will vote Democrat because of the issues, not because of the politicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about opportunity Democrats?
Opportunity Democrats, you're getting close to, very liberal people. These are people that are not quite as well off as the solid liberals, which are coming up next. These are people on the lower income brackets who rely on some of the programs that Democrats support, like Medicare, unemployment insurance, food stamps, those types of things. So they tend to be people who are really hoping for the Democrats to push forward that agenda of the kind of the equality as far as fiscally speaking. And then
solid liberals.
Solid liberals, the biggest group out of all of them, 25%. These are people that the Democrats rely on. They go back to Alex's situation on our PowerPoint slides. They believe in government to promote change. A solid liberal they're the Hillary Clinton voters. They're also the Bernie Sanders voters. These are people that no matter who the Democrat is, they're going to vote for the Democrat. And they tend to be, obviously quite liberal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do we develop those beliefs or practices that lead us to identifying with one of these groups over another?
So, in some colleges, not here at TCC, some colleges call this course political science instead of government class.
Right.
I'm a teacher of government, though, right? Because I teach at TCC. So this is kind of the sciencey part of government class. Political socialization is the process by which we develop our political beliefs and opinions. Some people take it for granted that they're a Republican, they're a Democrat. They don't think about how that came to be. They just think that,
so my dad was a Democrat, I'm a Democrat, my kids will be Democrats, we will die Democrats.
Something like that, right? Or they just, they've never really thought about how that happened, right?
Okay.
Like, yeah, I'm a Democrat, but why am I a Democrat? Or why am I a Republican? That type of thing. And that's called, so this science is called political socialization, okay? And so basically the way this works is we have agents of socialization. We'll start off with family. Like you said, a lot of people vote Republican or Democrat because their parents.
And I think it's especially true when you're younger, probably.
Yes. There's a lot of, if you're eating dinner with your parents, there may be some offhand remarks about Obama or Trump that sink in because they're your parents. So your family is a huge.
Or if you're our age, it's Reagan.
Yes, Reagan. Your parents have a huge influence when you're young. You're your captive audience. So the older you get, that tends to change. In fact, I know some people that are the opposite of their parents because maybe it's natural, or maybe it's they're sick of what their parents have been saying for 18, 20 years. But family, when you're younger, huge influence. And then religion. Religion can really influence your political identity. But I think more specifically, it's how serious religious you are. Some people are Catholic twice a year, Easter and Christmas. Some people go to church twice a week, once a week. And some people are spiritual. They believe in something, but they're not quite sure what they believe in. And I have a graphic here I want to show you guys. Go to the next slide. This is, again, back to Pew. This is people who identify as Mormon, and then towards the bottom have a African Methodist Episcopal Church. You can see this is not 100% accurate, but it's a good idea of how your religious beliefs affect your political identity. Mormons, 70% of Mormons are Republican, identify as Republican, and 20% as Democrat. I've never met a Democrat Mormon. I don't know if you have or not, but I have.
I think I have.
They're out there. They're one in five. Then towards the bottom, though, you have atheists, Buddhist, Hindu, agnostic, Jewish. The unreligious, is that a word? The non-religious or the Eastern religions tend to be more liberal by quite a bit. You can see down there that the numbers are kind of amazing. Right in the middle, you have all U.S. adults. More adults identify as Democrats than Republicans. Doesn't mean they vote that way, but they identify as Democrats.
But if they were called on a survey and they answer the phone, that's what they'll say.
I want to show you. So the most interesting one here is Jehovah's Witnesses. They're right above nothing in particular. So the reason why their identity is so low overall is because they're told not to believe. They're told not to vote, and they're told not to believe in any religion. It's against their religion to have political beliefs. So I was surprised that even 18% identified as Democrats because they're not supposed to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Your friends. So I think, in my opinion, your friends and your peers take over your family as far as how they influence your beliefs, especially with social media.
Again, that's relatively new. So there's a lot of research in this area right now.
It's hard to, it's easy to ignore. You hide your friends, but what your friends share on Facebook and Twitter can end up influencing what you think about a politician or an issue. I could go off on the subject for a long time, but basically, who you talk to, who you share ideas with, they're going to have a huge influence on what you believe and how you believe it, and social media is kind of amplifying that. Okay. Education. You guys are in college now, and you're learning about government, maybe for the first time, unfortunately. But certainly, if you take a government class, if you take some type of political theory class, you're going to learn about things that will just naturally influence the way you think about an issue. Once you learn about the powers of the presidency, or the issues with the legislative branch, I think that you start forming opinions. like right in the classroom sometimes.
Well, and I think also it depends on what you're getting educated in.
Yes.
So as liberal arts majors, I guess, were you a liberal arts major?
I was a business major.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
That's weird.
yes.
We would probably be surrounded by opinions that are slightly different from the business school
Yes,
or
yes.
from the agricultural school
Right.
or
Yeah, that's
what
very
have
true.
you. So what you choose to go into will also affect.
And where you go to school.
That's true.
University, private, public, community college. I mean,
Regional.
Who your instructor is. I mean, we have to try very hard to at least I specifically try. I don't want to influence anybody. So and the textbooks can be influence. I mean, they really can be a little bit biased. So we try very hard to not do that as educators. We really do. Events. So I'm talking big events and personal events. September 11th for a lot of people changed the way they viewed the government and security.
Yeah, that was my first year of college. So
yeah, me too.
That just changed.
Yes.
I think we're the first generation that grew up.
Yes, taking our shoes off at the airport. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to be able to bring knives on airplanes.
You used to be able to meet people when you got off the airplane.
Yes.
Right there at the plane.
Welcome to good old days with Misty and Rick.
We sound so old.
We do. So no, but in all seriousness, I think we gave up a lot of liberties when we created a Homeland Security Department, the Patriot Act. These are very government intrusive things that liberals and conservatives, we were both like, okay, we'll do it because we don't want to get attacked again.
Well, and I think for a lot of people now, it's the school shootings, right?
Yes.
That's going to be the next thing that influences the next generation that comes along.
I think so.
Changes some of their political leanings a little bit.
I think so. And I think, as far as personal issues, you may be very much against abortion or same-sex marriage, but then your best friend gets pregnant and she has to make a decision. So there are times where personal events affect but I think these might be the most powerful because once you experience something personally, that can really
being theoretical.
Yeah, it stops being it stops being a headline, it stops being a story on CNN, and it becomes, man, I experienced this and these are the issues that they face, and maybe I should change my views on something. So, and lastly, media. And boy, again, I could go off on this for quite a while, and there'll be a fake news segment next week.
Yes, please come to that.
Yeah. But yeah, the media, what you watch, what you read, huge influence on what you believe because media can be biased and media can be not trustworthy. So I think we all have to do a good job of getting news from sources that are reliable and are accurate.
Well, and balanced. I think you should have a balanced media diet.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I think people do not like reading news they don't agree with. I told my students. No,
because I want everyone to agree with me all the time, right?
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of human nature, right? I've told students in the past that your Twitter feed should make you angry because you should follow people that say things that not like hateful messages, but you should follow politicians that are, if you're a Republican, you should follow Democrats on Twitter just to know what the other side is saying, just so you have a more well-rounded, experience of what the issues are.
All right. So what we hope that you guys have gained out of this is a little bit of a better understanding of our political system and hopefully your own identity.
Oh, sorry. That's I forgot about that one.
Rick added a slide.
Yes,
and didn't tell me.
I did tell you. That's fake news. More about that later. So I wanted to show you guys, as far as when it comes to media, part of the issue with media is we don't trust the media. You can see a big dip happening in the last 2 years, actually, around the time of the 2016 campaign. And we did have a lot of legitimate fake news, and we had a lot of stories that were arguably biased and not accurate. So if we need to have a media that helps us learn the news, we need to be able to trust the media. And when you have only a third of the country that does trust the media, you have a system that's not working correctly.
Well, and to put that into a historical context, we have seen this distrust really since Vietnam. And that's when it starts to fall. Yeah. Because really before that, we had a very high trust in our media, and we believed that they were giving us an honest and balanced and fair view of the story.
Right.
And since Vietnam, we've seen a slow decline and maybe a little bit more rapid of a decline here recently.
Yeah. And a lot of there's a lot of different sources of media. I mean, you can create a blog.
Right. There used to be just like 3 channels.
Yeah. And, if you have 1,000 followers, you're now a source. And that may not be the best thing in the world.
All right. So again, kind of to go back to what I was going to say earlier, we hope that you have spent a little bit of time tonight thinking about your own political identity and that you are motivated to get involved. That's what this whole series is about, is connecting you to your local community and getting you involved in things. So we hope that part of what we're doing is helping you get motivated to vote.
Yeah, I think voting is really the most important thing you can do to affect change in government. If you're unhappy with something in government, you vote. I mean,
especially in midterm and local elections.
Yeah.
I mean, your vote just goes so much more because not that many people are voting.
Right. We can talk about, this is not about turnout, but we can talk about turnout later on. But yeah, and if you vote, you can also call your representative. You can send them a letter.
We're going to have a webinar on that too.
Yeah. So
3 weeks, I think, 2 weeks.
So there are many different ways to get involved. You just have to care enough. And that's part of why we're doing this, is to get you guys to care more, because it is important that you all are educated on, because this is your government. These are your representatives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are people that represent you. You may not have voted for them, but they still represent you. And it's important you hold them accountable to everything they're doing.
What percentage of the population voted in the last midterm election?
The last midterm, Texas or national?
Texas.
Texas. It's usually under a quarter. So 24%?
I think it's about 15.
15%. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Round.
Yeah, we'll round up.
Ish.
We'll round up 15%.
So we hope you guys are part of that 15%. If you're going to vote, you do need to register, and that is coming up pretty quickly. So October 9th, you need to have your registration paperwork postmarked in the mail.
I know at Trinity River campus we'll be having registration drives. I don't know those days. Feel free to call Student Development Services. They should have those days where you'll be able to come here, register, or you can go online to the Texas voter registration website. You have to print it off.
You can't register online in Texas.
You can't.
But you can print it off.
But you can take a picture of a check and deposit it via an app. But you cannot register to vote online in Texas. I don't know why. But.
So the other thing to remember is that you can always go to a post office, and then it's right there. Just fill it out. I know that's out of the way for some people, but if you happen to live by one.
Do students know what a post office is?
Is that showing how old we are again?
Yeah, I think it is. Talk to your post office man or woman. They will tell you.
The guy who brings you your Amazon packages?
They don't know.
Oh.
That's an Amazon person.
Oh. All right. So if you're going to vote, if you get registered, early voting is October 22nd through November 2nd. And personally, to me, that is the best possible time to vote because the lines are short.
Yep.
You can get in and out, go on your business, get your little sticker that says I voted.
Yep.
It feels good.
Yep. And you can vote anywhere in the county, by the way. If you vote early, if you're registered in Tarrant County,
it's another benefit.
You can go anywhere downtown to the, any place that does early voting, you can vote.
And if you're going to go downtown,
come see us.
Come see us.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So TCC Trinity River is going to have a walk the vote at the beginning of early voting. Yeah.
So actually, early kind of notice here. We're going to have a whole week. That first week, we're going to call it the other midterms. Okay. It's a pun. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
You get it. Okay. The other midterms, it's going to be every day we'll have an event that's related to the election. We're going to have politicians come by and speak. So Wednesday, the 25th, we're going to have a walk the vote.
Hey, look, Don said we're funny.
Oh.
We appreciate
very,
that,
very
Don.
very low bar that we've achieved. Yeah, that Wednesday, the 24th or 25th is going to be a walk the vote at the Idea Store. If you come down to the Idea Store, we'll walk students it's just across the street to the early voting place. And again, all that week we'll have events at Trinity River campus. And you'll get an email about that.
And if you can't make it to the Trinity River one, we ask that you come to the TCC Connect one. And we're going to have some of your Connect faculty members that will walk you to vote. And actually, we share not a building, but sort of we're connected.
It's
kind of connected.
Yeah.
So we're going to walk you to exactly the same place that the Trinity River faculty are going to walk you. We're just going to do it at the end of early voting. So November 1st and November 2nd is going to be the TCC Connect. And we're going to exercise our right to vote because we also like puns.
Oh, I get that one.
Yeah.
Mine was better, but it's
whatever.
It's not too bad, actually.
All right. But if you missed both early voting, please still vote. The actual election day is November 6th. And you do have to go to your precinct if you go on election day. So kind of keep that in mind. All right. So we hope that you guys have enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can type them in the box and we'll hang out for a few minutes so that we can answer anything that you guys type in. But to get credit for attending, and I guess we should say this. We were supposed to have a different presenter. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. It was supposed to be Corena White. She's another government instructor, but she had a family emergency, so I had to step in.
And did a decent job.
Thank you.
A very decent job.
It's a low bar, but thanks.
Again, another low bar you achieved.
So we ask that you guys fill out this link. This is how you are going to get credit for attending. That link will be active until tomorrow at 7 p.m. And after that point, we turn that link off, and you get credit by whatever way your instructor has set it up. In my class, if you watch this recorded, you're going to write a paragraph about it. In some other classes, you're probably going to take a little quiz. So whatever way your instructor has set up, if you don't do the live link.
Yeah, it won't let me paste the link into the chat for some reason. So
it's real weird.
And they can't click on it here either. So
so you guys can either type it in. Can we put it in the description?
Let me see. I can't. You have to edit it. I can't edit it.
Okay. We'll try to put it in the description for you guys. Do we have any questions from students?
Let's see. We have students that are giving their ages. Yeah, Jesse, it's not your fault. It's our. We thought that the link would be click. Actually, you thought it'd be clickable.
I thought it's my fault.
It's a video. You can't click a video.
No, I thought we could type it in.
I thought
we could type
it in. It says whenever I try to type in a link, it says Google's not. I guess because it could be like a virus or something. We had some students give their ages.
You can email Rick. His email address is right there on the screen.
Yeah, email me. And I'm looking at the questions here. I see students that were sharing their, and I know my Connect students took this test, and some of them, if you're here, you already knew what you were. All right, well, I enjoyed this. Thank you for having me on here. This is your thing, so I hope I'm paid for this. Am I? No?
Checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
All right, so thanks guys for attending, and we will have another one on fake news next week, and that's going to be by Allegra Davis Hanna. She's one of the English Connect faculty members. All right, thank you guys.
Thanks,
have a
guys.
good night.